Syria says only President Muhammadu Buhari has the right to authorize the use of firearms. Plus, federal government strives to avoid a repeat of failure in the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector at the end of the SDGs. These and more we'll get to bring to you on Panorama now. I'm Ruth Aguela. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is determined to work with Nigerians both at home and abroad towards developing the economy and creating a productive and peaceful nation that caters to the needs of its citizens. The president spoke at a town hall meeting with Nigerians in the diaspora on the margins of the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting just ended in Kigali, Rwanda. Let's get the details from State House correspondent Adam Musambo.
Among those granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari include Yewande Adeboale, one of the top 4 winners at the Commonwealth Youth Competition at the Kigali Startup Festival, as well as Esther Olarewaju and Favor Aderinto, recipients of the CMU Africa Student Excellence Awards for Masters in Information Technology, as well as Electrical and Computer Engineering, respectively.
Now being graduates, we are looking forward to use the skills we've gotten and then bring it down to my country to improve the technology sphere.
And we are not just people who are intellectuals, but we also have leadership skills to lead youths to be better at whatever they do.
You are the type of Nigerian that I like to see. God gave you this brains, He gave you the courage to use it, He gave you the mind to be so sensible. I congratulate you for being successful, and you are making us very proud. I'm very, very pleased to meet you.
The Nigerian leader, who commended the level of professionalism of Nigerians living in Rwanda and the amiable nature of their interactions with each other, said living peacefully and in obedience to the laws of the host nation is paramount, as it gives Nigeria a good name. The federal government, he said, is working assiduously to protect all Nigerians, whether at home or abroad, to feel safe and attain their full potentials in life. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Rwanda, Ambassador Aishatu Musa, had told the president that Nigerians in the country, whose population swelled from 100 to 400 in recent years, are generally well behaved.
We have them in the banking sector, in education, agriculture, telecommunication, ICT. They're all everywhere, sir, and doing very well.
We want to come to Nigeria and make a positive impact as we are doing here, and also below abiding. And we appreciate what you're doing as a father to all, keeping our dear country warm.
And one thing is instructive, they all got their foundation from Nigeria. And they made it clear, and they're grateful to Nigeria. So the thing is, nobody will celebrate us but ourselves. And then the next thing is, how do you harness all these enormous resources that we have in human talent? And that's the beauty of what we're doing with the diaspora. You can see the passion and the interest to also give back and do something back home, particularly from the younger ones.
And in appreciation of the honor done to them, winner of the Kigali Startup Festival, Yewande Adeboale, presented shoes from recycled plastic waste.
And this is yours. We are currently looking to...
Thank you very much. What is the size? 44, that is 10. How did you know?
From Kigali, Rwanda, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
And let's also inform you that the president is back in the country. To other issues, the presidential candidate and national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, traveled out of the country early Monday morning after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. A statement by Tinubu Media Office says his visit to Paris, France, is to hold some important meetings. Earlier, before his departure, he attended a public presentation of a book titled Mr. Speaker and launch of Legislative Mentoring Initiative in commemoration of the 60th birthday of Speaker of House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Let's look at health. The UN target, in line with Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 3 rather, is aimed at ending HIV and AIDS by 2030. Experts say this will be achieved when the number of new HIV infections and AIDS-related deaths decline by 90%. But unfortunately, while the drop in AIDS-related deaths is on track, the rate of new HIV infections is said to be off track to achieving this target. This informed the National HIV Testing Day. Let's get the details now from Basi Ikpang.
UNAIDS record shows that about 6.0 million of the world population still walk the streets without knowing their HIV status. A high number of these people are responsible for the majority of new infection recorded every year, adding to the challenges of achieving 2030 targets of ending AIDS.
But one thing is important. There is no way we can end AIDS without knowing people who have HIV among us. There is no way we can know people who have HIV among us without HIV testing.
27th of June annually is set aside to encourage people to get tested for HIV, know their status, and get linked to care and treatment.
Treatment is free and available and accessible. So the next step, once you find out your status, that you are positive, is to access the free test, free treatment that is available everywhere.
What are the options
You
to
can
know one's HIV status?
facilities where HIV services are given and demand for HIV testing free of charge. You can also demand for self-test kits, which are now available. This will give you opportunity to test yourself, to know your HIV status in the comfort of your room.
Especially for my pet group, which is adolescents and young people that are into a lot of risky behavior and yet do not want to come out in the open because of stigma, discrimination, lack of access, so many things. Now have the tools in their hands.
HIV testing, experts say, is self-care, and taking the test is your care. Know your status today. Stay healthy, protect your loved ones, and stop the spread. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
The Nigerian Immigration Service has affirmed that Mr. David Ukpo Nwamini, who is at the center of a case of alleged organ harvesting in the UK against a former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, and his wife, applied and paid for the enhanced e-passport using the NIS portal, after which he approached the Gwagwalada Passport Office, FCT Abuja, on November 2nd, 2021 for his interview. A statement signed by the acting Comptroller General of Immigration, Issa Jiri, notes that in support of his application, Mr. Nwamini presented all the necessary documents required, including his birth certificate issued by National Population Commission, showing 12th October 2000 as his date of birth, his national identity number issued by NIMSI corroborating the date of birth, a certificate of origin issued by Ebonyi State Government Liaison Office, Abuja, and a guarantor's form duly signed. The acting CGI reaffirms that in view of the records available to the service, the general public may wish to be informed that the date of birth or any other information on any Nigerian passport is printed on the document only after a thorough vetting process that involves both the applicant's breeder documents and the person. Mr. Nwamini's case, he says, was not an exception, contrary to rumors making the rounds. Idris, while assuring the service commitment towards protecting the integrity of the passport, is appealing to the general public to desist from making unfounded utterances, as they are capable of denting the image of the service. A look at security in response to the recent call by the Zamfara State Governor Bello Mohammed for citizens to acquire arms to protect themselves. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Lucky Rabo, described it as inappropriate, noting that only the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces can authorize the use of firearms. Defence correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Chief of Defence Staff stressed this at the commencement of exercises Grand National with Services War Challenges at the National Defence College, Abuja.
They gives the right and the powers to the Commander-in-Chief for the use of the armed forces. And I believe that what we're doing in Zamfara State and of course across the states of the Confederation is in deference to these provisions of the Constitution. If what I read is true, I do not also think that the governor has the powers to instruct the Commissioner of Police to issue licenses, because the Commissioner of Police does not have the powers to issue licenses. Anyway, asking for citizens to bear arms, I'm yet to know. I believe that the Attorney General or the Federation will look at the Constitution and what the laws say and what the powers of the executive governor is to be able to do this.
The death has been announced of kidnapped priest Reverend Father Odia, who was killed by his abductors after being kidnapped Sunday morning, 26th June 2022 at about 6:30 a.m. in his rectory while coming out to go for Sunday Mass at St. Michael Catholic Church, Ikagbigbo, Uzerue, Edo State. In a statement signed by Reverend Father Peter Egelewa, Director of Social Communications, Catholic Diocese of Auchi, says, until his death, Father Odia was the administrator of St. Michael Catholic Church, Ikagbigbo, and also the principal of St. Philip Catholic Secondary School, Jatu. He was aged 41. Burial arrangements will be announced by the diocese in due time. Let's go on a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Welcome back. The Nigerian government says it is striving to avoid a repeat of failure in the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector as the SDGs 2030 target draws closer. However, despite various policies and programs at the federal level, attainment of these goals looks like a distant dream going by activities at the state level. Musbahudan Wahab reports.
Central Abuja Regional Water Supply Scheme inaugurated with fanfare and handed over to Bayelsa State government in 2016. Wow. Just a year later, the facility intended to serve about 14 communities and parts of Yenagoa with potable water came under lock and key.
A 6 billion naira investment by the federal government, not a dime put in by the state government, only for them to run the scheme. We went and commissioned the scheme way back in 2016. Go and see the situation today. It's been vandalized. They can't even hire a security personnel to safeguard the infrastructure.
That is one of the instances that came to mind as Water Resources Minister vented his frustration about the attitude of some subnational governments towards federal-state partnership in fixing the wash sector. And the recently released data in the WASH National Outcome Routine Mapping, WASH NOM 2021, confirms the slow-paced progress in water supply and sanitation.
An estimated 48 million people are still practicing open defecation, which has serious negative health and security implications for Nigerians.
The challenges ahead are profound. Only 10% of Nigerians have access to combined water, sanitation and hygiene services. The level of access to water, sanitation and hygiene in the country is still not on track to achieve the SDG 6.1 or 6.2.
Apart from increase in population and the COVID-19 slowdown, the other reason again is not far-fetched.
Despite all the advocacy we're doing, many states are still lagging behind. They have not embraced this program as we would want them to.
Competition is on for the first state to complete the cycle of statewide open defecation-free status, but performance in some states still leaves much to be desired.
The entire waste sector will not be able to meet the sustainable development goals without a concerted effort by the state government to commensurate the efforts that we're making at federal level.
So, going by the centrality of water and sanitation to other sectors in the sustainable development agenda, key players say it will require a renewed vigor to clean the mess and quench the thirst of a yearning population in Nigeria. In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Let's go to Saudi Arabia, where we have view of the additional number of Nigerian pilgrims that have arrived Saudi Arabia ahead of the 2022 Hajj, where the Saudi Kingdom is to host 1 million pilgrims across the globe. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has set up health facilities in Medina to address health challenges that might emanate. Yusuf Umar was at some of these facilities to ascertain the level of their preparedness, as more pilgrims are expected to arrive soon.
These are some of the facilities provided at the clinic set up by NACON in Saudi Arabia towards better and effective healthcare delivery to pilgrims. The clinics, which use electronic medical record (EMR), are serving as bridges between Saudi hospitals and pilgrims due to language barrier, with mandates to provide only primary health care to pilgrims and refer patients to Saudi hospitals for secondary cases.
On the average, we receive between 50 to 100 pilgrims every day in these our clinics. And of course, we expect that it's going to increase within the next 1 week due to the rapid influx of pilgrims.
At the NACON head office in Medina, where the clinic headquarters is operating, with health personnel attending to patients, sufficient drugs and ambulances are on standby for any eventuality.
The challenges we see patients having malaria, body pains, upper respiratory tract infections, and then the issue of jet lag. Some people are not used to flying.
Meanwhile, a health sensitization program was organized for Nigerian pilgrims in batches, with the latest for Lagos State pilgrims on how to maintain good hygiene, protect themselves from high temperature, and the need to avoid overcrowded places, as well as the use of face masks to guard against contact with any disease. So far, about 6,000 Nigerian pilgrims have moved to Mecca for Umrah, which is a process of Hajj. From Medina in Saudi Arabia, Yusuf Umar, NTA News.
Next, the sports update.
Ahead of this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations, most successful team in the competition, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, were about this time landed in Morocco to get set for the tournament, which they have won 9 times. Nigeria, who was recently ranked 39th in the world and first in Africa by FIFA, will square up against rivals South Africa on July 4th, Botswana on July 7th, and conclude Group C with a match against Burundi on July 10th.
Everybody wants to halt the dominance of the Super Falcons in Africa. Everybody wants to create an upset. Everybody wants to use the Super Falcons to make a news. But I would want to tell people that it is our duty as a team to make sure that we sustain and maintain our #1 spot in Africa.
Meanwhile, tennis fans across the globe are getting set for the third tennis Grand Slam of the year, the Wimbledon. This 135th edition